Hi, my name's Jeff.
I'm Rick.
And welcome to Hacking Concrete Podcast, live from the Decorative Concrete Expo in Orrville, Ohio.
I just used my first cordless angle grinder I bought.
How'd that go?
It went really well, actually, because it's Milwaukee. I'm a huge fan of Milwaukee. I'm obsessed with it. Not that this is an ad for Milwaukee or anything. But, you know, I just love the fact that the batteries, they make such good machines. So I had to give my angle grinder to my team a couple months ago, and I forgot. So I went to do a training class here at Decorative a couple weeks ago, and I didn't have my angle grinder in my case. I was like, what? I was so mad that I didn't think about it, didn't look. It just, you know, I'm so organized usually, I can't believe I forgot that. So then I went to the store to buy a new one, and I was like, I got to go for it. And so that was my first time using it and everything.
It was nice?
It went great. The problem is the concrete was extremely soft, and my soapstone lines just disappeared before my eyes. So the machine worked great, but the actual engraving itself was kind of I did the best I could.
Yeah. So what are you working on out there?
So I got a design going where I have like a three-dimensional pattern going on. A couple people have looked at it and kind of said it looks like cinder block. So if you think about a cinder block and how it has the little square in the middle, and then it looks like a vertical kind of thing coming out from it, it's almost like you have half of a cinder block and a pattern.
Oh, cool.
And then I did like a crop circle in the middle, which is what I just cut. And after I get that, you know, after I go back, I'm going to start doing all my straight lines, and then it's paint by number for the rest of the day.
Paint by number. And what's your thoughts on crop circles again?
Crop circles? Crop circles are kind of cool. They make really good medallions. It's funny because
done by UFOs.
I bought a $10 book and turned it into a profitable idea. Who would have thought when you're walking through the bookstore that a $10 book would turn into a profit?
I love it.
That's hilarious.
So you're using these angle grinders, been around a long time.
Yeah.
You're using like these old, really old tools.
The old styles and stuff like that.
And then right behind us, you've got Bob Harris, who he just put a big sticker down, and it looks like he's cheating.
And do we want to tell him that I could have drawn, cut, and stained that faster?
That's fine. You think you could have?
I won't tell him that if you. I don't. Let's just not.
They have all kinds of fancy equipment right there.
It's funny because Rachel and I have worked together for years, and it's our biggest kind of like thing between the two of us is she's like, why don't you use more stencils? And I was like, why don't you freehand more?
So who's Rachel?
Rachel Bruce is with Floor Maps, and she's helping with the stencils. She makes great stencils. The first time I ever did a stencil with her was for a charity in Chicago. We did this nonprofit project with the DCC, with the Decorative Concrete Council.
Yeah.
And we made this floor look like an aquarium for this. It's a daycare in the middle of the ghetto. They literally knocked down 3 crack houses to build this daycare.
Wow.
And it was like, for example, it's such in a bad place in Chicago that literally there's a sign on the gate that says, "No guns, children at play."
Oh, funny.
I've never seen a no gun caution sign for a daycare.
So you did so DC they do some charitable.
Yeah, we do at least 1 or 2. We have 2 going on this year, and we all try to get together and help. You know, sometimes it's pouring a simple concrete pad, or a lot of sometimes it's overlay. They did one in San Diego 2 years ago that was like a $250,000 overwhelming project that was extreme, took months to put together.
Wow.
Typically, we're looking for like a 4-day, 2,000 square foot project. You know, something that we can just get together for a couple days, do something for the community.
Okay.
Usually we look for stuff that has to do with kids or veterans is usually what we focus on.
So you're the person to talk to about this. What do you think the benefits of being part of that organization are for just contractors like us to put in to be a part of it? Because you're on the board.
So it's hard to explain sometimes, but to me, it's that credibility factor. It's that last little detail of how serious are you in this industry? Do you want to be in the industry, or do you want to just work on, with the tools and everything? I like the idea of the industry knowing more about me and getting involved. It's not, when I first started doing this, I always thought that I had to stay in the corner all by myself, and I'm this crazy little artist, and you can't know what I'm doing, and I got to be private, and it's better for you not to know. And I was like, that's stupid, because you still can't do what I do. What do I have to worry about? Why?
Yeah,
and so I looked into the industry, and a couple of friends of mine invited me to go to ASCC the first year. I went for 2 years as a non-member to truly see if I had a reason to be there. Can I help? Are you guys even going to care that I'm here? And they enjoyed. It worked so well that I jumped right in, got obsessed with it. And I love the fact that I'm giving back to the industry by doing this kind of stuff. And it's about the greater good of the industry. The meetings we have are, sometimes they're basic, but there's so many things that we can do. There's mission statements we've got to make about proper mixing of epoxy, proper overlay techniques. There's so many things that this industry needs that we don't have. Who's going to do it? So these organizations have those capabilities.
It's like the Wild West sometimes. We talk about it all the time.
It is.
Yeah.
And so by going to these things, you find out, first of all, safety. We don't do safety right on so many levels. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
I still don't.
Right.
ASCC still gets on my case about little details of safety.
You might have an issue just 5 minutes ago.
No, I don't. They would have.
You're not wearing a hard hat.
I just stopped myself to say I'm not wearing a hard hat. I agree.
Your shirt is black. You got to be wearing something brighter than that.
We need safety.
When it's long sleeve.
Hey, that is true.
Yeah, that's true.
I did have gloves on.
Wait, do you have to wear long sleeves?
They do suggest it because when you're
Jeez.
most of the safety is most about pouring concrete too, though. So when you're pouring concrete, they want you to be completely protected because you can easily get burns from the concrete itself.
Okay.
So it does make sense. You shouldn't be out there in flip-flops and shorts and stuff like that when you're pouring concrete.
Right.
Now, I don't pour concrete, so some of that gets a little frustrating for me because I'm like, I don't do those things. I don't do commercial very much, so I don't really need the hard hat because I don't have overhead things going on around me very often. But those are technicalities that I work with.
They still want you to wear them, though.
Oh, absolutely. And I should have, because I'm in a live. The one thing they always say, too, is now that I'm in this position where people are paying attention to what I do, it's my responsibility to show them the right ways to do everything.
Okay. And you learned that from being on the council. From being
exactly. So those kind of things kind of do matter. So to your point, yes, I should have worn a hard hat just because I'm in front of a live audience that doesn't know any better, and that's what makes them question it. And then now we're talking about the wrong thing. We're supposed to be talking about helmets.
How dope would it be if you could have someone make that into a hard hat?
It would be awesome. I should work
because
on
that hat is this thing,
But now they're talking about helmets. That's the future. Now we're wearing hockey helmets, and we have straps to hold them on, and that's a whole nother story to itself that they're trying to change because safety is so important.
That will happen. That will happen.
So these organizations are, you learn all those kind of things, and you get to hang with your peers, and you get a lot of one-on-one time. I can call so many people in this industry to ask any question I could ever imagine. How else are you going to get access to those people?
That's true.
There's a whole forum for questions. And then everybody, it's a great email forum. If you have a question, it's not like you have to feel weird asking a question. You have no idea how many people will help you out. And within 24 hours, you will get answers to what you need. It's great.
We see it all the time.
It's really cool. I love how they they're stuck on the email chain. Like, that's what they do in the email. And I like it, actually. But most people have, switched over to, publicly posting things like a message board type thing.
Come on, man, you're going way too far. This is a nonprofit organization. They don't. It's not technology.
This is like AOL dial-up days. You email and the email goes out to 100 people.
You've got mail.
I know, it's great. So every day we get these emails with these super complicated problems that people are having. And I've never actually written. Have you ever written before?
No.
And asked a question?
No, we just spy on everyone.
I read every one of them, though.
Yeah.
I do, too. That's the fun thing about it, too, is knowing that I don't pour concrete. But then all of a sudden I see this thing about concrete, and sometimes I'm like, oh, that's a really good question. And then I love the fact that you can follow the answers and see that it's not just one answer, that you have 10 different people saying 10 different ways that you can go about fixing these things. I don't know a better way to learn on the fly.
I also find myself reading them and thinking, all right, for example, there was a guy that posted who did some polished concrete the other day, and he polished the floor, and once he ground the cap off, it looked like a desert, like it was just crackled dirt is what it looked like. Did y'all see that one?
I think I read a little bit.
And
of
I looked at that and I thought, man, I'm glad I'm not in his shoes.
Yeah.
It was like a whole 10,000 foot project where the concrete obviously had some sort of problem, and they're trying to put it on him.
Right. And that's always the problem. I mean,
but it's nice for him though, because he got replies from 20 people, and they're all like, "No, man, that's not your fault. That's somebody else."
Yeah.
So it's good to be able to know so quick.
Even the fact that they have like a mission statement on the fact that concrete will crack.
Yeah.
You know, so if you have those clients that are like, look, my concrete cracked, you got to repair it. We can literally go to them and go, well, the American Society of Concrete Contractors says right here that concrete will crack.
Yeah.
You know, and it kind of helps you, it gives you that defense, and they're there for you to help you with everything.
It's funny, we were having this conversation right up here, and you're the perfect guy to talk to about it, about the benefits of it. You know.
It's funny because it's weird for me because sometimes I don't really understand. We talked about this last time. I don't really understand if people are watching what I'm doing, if they're getting it, if I'm popular. I really have no clue. But I feel like from the industry itself, I'm getting that. I get that respect from ASCC, and I think that's a big deal.
Okay.
You know, I think any organization you get involved with, if they're showing you respect, you're doing something right.
Right. Correct. Awesome.
I actually wanted to know that for my own personal benefit. That wasn't for show.
Interesting.
We've been members for 2 or 3 years, and I just...
Right, during COVID, so you haven't got to actually enjoy the benefits yet.
Right, yeah, right.
We thought, and you know, this September, you're going to see a lot more in Cleveland because you're coming, right?
We'll come to Cleveland.
We have it live. He's coming to Cleveland. He's coming to Cleveland. You heard it.
Well, we were going to go to World of Concrete, and you guys didn't show up. ASCC didn't show up.
Oh, I know, but I was there. In fact, we had our meeting via, you know, Zoom or whatever, and I had 5 of the board members in my hotel room because we were all still there. So we all got together to be the people that we're actually representing. It was pretty funny.
Good.
Just kind of as a rule now, like going forward, I'm just not doing Zoom anymore. Done.
Done with Zooming?
I'm done with Zooming. I'm done with COVID. I'm done with all of that. It's either in person or nothing. I'm done.
You know, it's funny because before COVID, we always did it over the phone anyway.
Oh, did you?
Well, what's the difference? I mean, we meet every single month.
He'll come back around.
I guess I'm just tired. I'm just tired of watching my kids struggle through doing Zoom on school every once in a while. You know, haven't done that in a while.
No, that part we're getting over.
Yeah, I think my feelings on that come from my personal. I talked to Landon about this earlier. My personal dislike of I don't want to be told what to do, and now I associate with Zoom with being told what to do, that I can't go and do something in person.
That's
so
weird.
I just don't want to do it anymore.
He just said that's weird.
That's very weird.
Not doing it anymore.
He's struggling right now with things.
I don't view it as I'm being told what to do.
Well, yeah.
I view it as it's a great opportunity for me to sit in the background and, like, one of the times...
Rick, thanks for bringing positivity today, this morning.
Well, in the beginning, when I was still working from home a lot, I'd be sitting there with the beer. They're all like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm at home. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon."
See, that's the positive of it.
Cheers.
Yeah, that's right.
So always look at the positive.
Yeah, I guess
We're going to work on this.
I guess so.
The glass is always half full.
Yeah.
It's always half empty for you, isn't it?
Well, when it comes to that, yes.
So take us through real quick. Take us through real quick here, step by step, what you're doing out there. I know you just cut the medallion.
So, well, let's backtrack for a second. The first thing I had to do was draw my pattern.
Yep.
Because I needed to see where the medallion would fit in. The scale of everything that I do, you have to think about scale. I did a mock-up drawing, but that drawing isn't exactly to scale to the floor. I'm always going to make slight adjustments because you can do it exact, but at the same time, I don't think that way.
Mm-hmm.
I need a guideline, not an exact replica.
Yeah.
And so the first thing I had to do was chalk out that 3D design to try to get a feel for how many tiles are there, where they're going to be sitting, where's the center, how much of that am I not going to see now, and is it still going to look 3D? I had to prioritize all of that before I even worried about if it was even going to work. Mm-hmm. Then I went in and so this morning I went in and started doing the circles to make that medallion, which was the easiest part of the whole thing. Really, that initial 3D layout was the hardest part yesterday.
Sure.
And it makes everything run smooth from there, depending on if I can see my lines when I go to cut.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I'm going to lose everything today as soon as I get done with this.
Yeah.
So then from there, after you get done cutting, then it goes into hand painting every little detail. This design is small enough or big enough, depending on how you want to look at it, that I don't really need to spray anything. So I can hand brush every single tile, and that's what I'm going to do for the next 2 days.
Wow.
Once I get all of that done, I'll recut all my lines, and then that's when the fun starts. because then I'm going to put a carpet film over top of the medallion, and I want to see how high I can make it look like it's coming off the ground.
Oh, cool.
And with drop shadow and stuff.
Nice.
And then I want to take inside of that medallion and adjust some more, and I want to see if I can make another ring come up a little bit and things like that. So I'm really looking forward to what I can do 3D on another level with it too.
Right.
To make it look like this medallion is not just above the floor, but literally, like, can I make it look like it's 1 foot off the floor, 2 foot off the floor? Like, how far can I take it?
Crazy.
That's cool. Smart guy.
Well, I haven't done it yet. So.
I guess we'll see.
Let's shoot from the hip on this. we got 40, 50 people watching. Let's just shoot from the hip. Right?
How long did it take you to plan this stuff? You really put a lot of thought into it coming up here, or did you do it in the car on the way?
No, I spent a couple of days thinking about it, because it is a different mindset. Like for example, last year when I was working with the dyes, I looked at a couple pictures in a book and I drew it on the floor.
Yeah.
On the fly.
Yep. Watch you do
But
it.
when I do outdoor stuff, that was one of the things I was saying to Jeff yesterday. When I do things on the patios and the pool decks, and I know that I'm going to get into more geometry or more 3D to it, it's a little bit easier for me to plan it out in advance because it's not that hard to find those patterns. So I literally was looking online at 3D tile and just kept looking up all these images until I found, and you can see that it's funny because someone takes a picture, you can still see their feet in there, and it's their tile floor that they took a picture of. And I was like, that's perfect, I want that. So I literally just saved that picture, put it on my tablet, took vellum. You know what vellum is? You ever heard of vellum?
Really thin paper?
No, it's see-through paper. It's not just thin.
Okay, see-through paper.
It's not even. It's actually. I'll show you. It's not that thin at all.
Yeah.
But it's see-through enough that you can put it over top of a screen and you can trace. You know, sometimes they also talk about like tracing paper. Tracing paper is really thin.
Yeah.
Vellum is actually not as thin, and it's just a really transparent kind of looking paper. And so I could just put it over top of my tablet, sketch that out. So then I was like, okay, now what do I want to do for a medallion? Go back to the crop circle thing. I have a whole book on crop circles, but they don't have the perfect angle sometimes on some of those. So I was researching crop circles, and I went, well, can I find one where they finally took a picture above it? And I found one so close that it was enough for me to get that image in the middle, even though it was slightly askewed. And if you look at my drawing, you can see even the tile pattern is just slightly off, but it was enough for me to figure out how to do that.
Oh, cool. That's cool. Fascinating. So what's it like to, like, you have all your work here, like you did that one and then you did another one over there. So every year you come back and you have to do a new project right next to your old one. I would like the stress of that.
That was stressful.
You have to, like,
Why is it stress?
what have you done for me lately?
They didn't take care of it.
What are we doing next time? Well, I know
You know what
they
I mean?
abused him this year. Oh, I already
Like,
had that
yeah,
talk
I
with
mean,
them.
and then you got Bob Harris in the Concrete Hall of Fame,
Yes,
working right next to what you did last year. Like they're gonna be side by side.
with all his equipment on top of what I did.
No pressure or anything, but
I
we're gonna
asked
put
him that
Bob Harris.
yesterday. I was like, "Do you really have to put all this here?" And he was like, "Yeah."
No pressure or anything, but we're gonna put Bob Harris right next to what you did and see if you can do better.
I don't see the issue. Like,
Okay,
That's right.
that's
I like
cool.
it.
I mean, who else gets to say I worked next to Bob Harris?
That's true.
You know, and not with, but next to.
Yeah,
You
that's right.
know, it's cool. They've been good friends of mine for years now. They're coming to see Primus with me
Okay.
in Nashville.
Nice.
We went to see the Pixies a couple years ago. Our birthdays are 5 days apart, and coincidentally, the Pixies came right in the middle of our birthdays. Primus is coming the day after mine, so I was like, "Hey, you want to do it again?"
That's funny.
You know, so how many people get to go to a concert with Bob Harris?
That's true.
I mean, that should be the tag
Are
on
you
this
familiar
one.
with Primus?
I am.
My Name is Bud.
Yeah.
That's the only
That was
song I
my
know.
favorite.
That's the only one you
That's
know.
the only one I
Not
know.
one known as Big Brown Beaver. Jerry was a race car driver.
I've heard of that one.
Okay,
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
it's my second favorite band of all time.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Who's your first?
Pink Floyd.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing better.
I don't think I've ever heard any Pink Floyd.
Okay. He just lost his nose.
I'm just kidding.
Well,
Well, it's funny because like when I'm painting, you know, back to like my art degree and everything, talking about paintings, music is extremely important to me. Even on concrete, I love listening to music all the time. But when I paint, I actually have a series of like the type of genres of music I want to listen to through the process. So when I start a painting, I'm very aggressive. I'm attacking the canvas, and I can do whatever I want. So it's like Rage Against the Machine, heavy, hard stuff, and I'm going to town on it. You know, and then I slowly slow down into the grunge music, and then I slow down a little bit more, and by the end, I'm listening to Pink Floyd, and I'm just going.
That's awesome. That's funny.
You know, so it keeps that focus and everything like that. But I think it's cool that Floyd keeps it.
You listen to Rage while you're grinding and cutting.
Oh yeah.
And then you listen to pretty
Pink
stuff
Floyd while I'm painting.
While you're painting.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's funny. Should we do a promo for the thing at Cleveland? I guess we already went over that. We can't really go back over it. It'd be weird to cut back in.
Well, it's not a promo as much as we invite everybody to come to ASCC in September. We're in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm taking people to the art museum on Saturday. If you want to learn more about how interesting this industry can be, come to an art museum with me, and I will show you some crazy stuff.
Okay.
We're probably having a party at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'm sure. The hotel is like right next to it.
Cool.
I mean, what a better time to come to Cleveland. I know everybody's like, Cleveland? Who wants to go to Cleveland? Cleveland is awesome. I have so much fun there. But then again, I'm biased. I'm born and raised in this area.
Yeah. Well, cool.
How's that for a promo?
We might come to the museum with you if it doesn't conflict with an Indians game.
There. But if I come to the museum, I'm blasting Rage Against the Machine. I'm carrying one.
I don't think it does, because I would go too.
Okay.
Well, what the funny thing about going to an art museum with me is betting how long it's going to take until I get in trouble.
All right. And we can be a part of that.
It's quite the first time I did it, I got in trouble. No, not the first time. The last time I did it, I got in trouble at the first painting I walked up to.
You touched it.
I did not touch it. I know it. But it's funny because I do. I go up to try to show you, look at this little moment right here.
Would you
Pay
get too
attention to
close?
this right here. And so you have the security guards looking at me like, you can't be that close. And I'm like, I'm not touching it. Chill out. But then I really get in trouble because then I start talking back. I'm like, I know what I'm doing.
He's kind of a close talker.
Yeah.
But I have touched a Van Gogh.
Ooh.
Really?
No wonder you get kicked out.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites where I walked up to it. I think it was in the Cleveland Museum too. And I stood there looking at it because I had to feel the texture. I'm a texture-oriented person, especially in art. So I stood there and I was like...
You're like George with the shirt and Seinfeld?
That's 2 Seinfeld references in 30 seconds.
It was awesome.
Well, thanks, man.
You know when George touched a girl's shirt?
No, I did not remember that.
Oh.
And I've watched a lot of Seinfeld, but no, I don't.
Yeah, he got in trouble for doing it.
Well, he gets in trouble for everything. I swear he gets in trouble for breathing.